Ministry of Education delivers on its e-book promise to students in secondary schools across the island. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, September 9th, 2020, I am Rikisha St. Louis. 8 secondary schools have so far benefited from the Ministry of Education's e-book distribution initiative. Distribution of the devices to 5th form students started on Monday, September 7th for students of Bishop's College, Happy Hill Secondary and St. David's Catholic Secondary School. On Tuesday, students from Hillsborough Secondary, Westerhall Secondary and St. Mark's Secondary received their e-books. The GIS team went to the Grenada Boys Secondary School and Boca Secondary on Wednesday to witness the distribution process. Project Officer in the Ministry of Education, Daniel Palmer, explains the process in place for collection of the devices.
They would move on to registration. So at the registration point, they would give the name of the student and we would verify the correct spelling. All of these things would take place at that station. Once all of that is verified, then they move on to the contract. Now, at the contract station, verification is also done. Every child is given a serial number. So the serial number is used from the registration point and it's placed on the contract for the parents. What we've been doing, we've been duplicating the contracts so that one contract goes to the parent and the other contract would stay with the Ministry of Education. All right, and that's for our record and to verify which child has received a device, and if there are any issues or any problems coming up, anything for maintenance, we know who the parents are and who the child is. Okay, and then the final station is collection. Now at the collection station, that's where most of the work is, because after they receive the device, they still have to have it inspected. All right, so then they would open up the box, they have to turn it on, they have to make sure that all the e-books are there. All of this is done at the collection stage.
154 students have received e-book devices at the institution. A fee of 25 EC dollars is required for the students who already have access to the government's book program and 50 EC for those who are not registered. GIS spoke with one parent and student at the Grenada Boys Secondary School. They explained how the initiative will benefit them.
I'm feeling happy that the government has taken on this initiative to introduce this approach. I think it will help them in a number of ways, both to do the online as well as the research aspect of their education, and it also let them widen their scope as well. So I'm quite happy and elated to be participating in this program as well.
Knowing that we are in Form 5 and we can use it to do SBAs and so, and it can also help the financially unstable students, so that cannot afford a laptop or anything like that. So it would be a very great thing for us going ahead.
At the Boca Secondary School District 5, Acting Education Officer Natasha Thomas gave an overview of the day's proceedings.
We've had 63 students listed for devices. A total of 40 parents came and got the devices. So that gives us a percentage of 63%. So it's almost 2/3 of the students came to receive the devices today.
E-book devices distribution will continue throughout the month. Continuing the news, government has invested more than $80,000 on school repairs on the Sister Isle as part of efforts to create an environment that is more conducive to learning. Work is ongoing on the Mount Pleasant, Windward and Hillsborough pre-primary schools, with the completion of upgrades to the Leicester RC School and Bogles Pre-Primary School quickly approaching. During a telephone interview, Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government, Honorable Kindra Maturin Stewart, said notwithstanding the challenges presented as a result of COVID-19, the government continues to invest significantly in the education sector in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. She highlighted the relocation of the Bogles preschool as a major accomplishment.
Now, while schools were out, we took the opportunity to work on a number of schools including the Leicester Rosary School, wherein an entire new kitchen was constructed and installed. We also did a lot of work on the Leicester preschool, making it much more comfortable and accommodating to both teachers and students alike. Importantly, also, we were able to relocate the Bogles preschool to its new home at the Bogles Multipurpose Center. The Bogles preschool for years really struggled to find its home. It moved in the past from place to place, of course, causing much inconvenience and stress and frustration, not just to parents and teachers alike, but also to the young ones.
The parliamentary representative commended the government and the Ministry of Education for their investment in Carriacou. Plans are in motion to undertake major repairs at the Mount Pleasant pre- and primary schools, Windward Preschool and the Hillsborough Government Schools.
Additionally, substantial repair work were also and are currently being done to the Mount Pleasant Preschool, the Mount Pleasant Primary School, the Windward Preschool and the Hillsborough Government School at this moment. We have never seen this amount of work on our school buildings in Carriacou and Petite Martinique as we are seeing now. And so I really want to thank the Minister and the Ministry of Education and her team for their usual support and commitment in ensuring that our school environment is comfortable and accommodating for learning.
This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. Beneficiaries under the Ministry of Social Development's Support for Education, Empowerment and Development, the SEED program, will undergo a recertification process for a few months. The process is geared at assessing individuals who are currently registered to determine whether or not their needs qualify them to be under the program. Minister for Social Development, Honorable Delma Thomas, explained that beneficiaries are recertified every 2 years. She said the process will adopt a phased approach, which will commence with more than 700 individuals who have improvement in living conditions and whose grants go directly to the bank.
Those persons who are in the first phase are beneficiaries with observable improvement in living conditions. And you may ask what that means and how do you decide? There are persons within the different communities who, when they applied for SEED 2 years ago, had no income. They were unemployed. Some started as Imani trainees and then they end up being teachers. Some were Imanis in the police, now they are permanent police officers. Some were in other aspects and now they gain public, they got employed. And therefore, these will be the first group of persons because when you applied, the application said unemployed. However, at this period, you are now employed.
Social workers will lead the process of evaluating beneficiaries. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Chrissy Warm Charles, said a total of 4,000 persons are listed to be recertified.
We have roughly over 4,000 persons to recertify. So you would imagine the time that it would take and based on the COVID stipulations and protocols. So we're looking at possibly within the space of 9 months. That's just a guesstimation. So we will be rolling out shortly. So for the first quarter, well, I shouldn't say the first quarter, for the rest of the year, we'll be looking at close to 900. And in the coming months, we would see how it goes. But we're looking at something roughly under 9 months.
Finally in the news, 2 farming groups will be targeted by the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, to undertake a project that would require the use of solar energy to convert sweet potatoes into flour. CARDI has collaborated with the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, to offer a solar drying initiative geared at producing flour using root crops. This pilot initiative is in keeping with Grenada's thrust in dealing with the effects of climate change on crop production. The idea behind this project is to use solar energy to process food with the hope that it can be adapted on a wide-scale measure, thus reducing the impacts of climate change. CARDI representative in Grenada, Reginald Andel, says although the solar dryers can be used for all root crops, this project will be focusing specifically on creating sweet potato flour.
Sweet potato flour as a whole is not really anything that is practiced in Grenada as such. We have some degree of cassava flour, but it's very, very tiny. But nevertheless, the principle of solar drying in root crops for making of flour and food preservation is the whole idea. Now, this also would have spin-off not just for root crop production, but also for fish drying and for sea moss drying.
Andel says there are enough sweet potatoes on the market to meet the demand of the pilot project, as the onset of COVID-19 encouraged increased cultivation of the crop.
What we have seen here at CARDI is a massive increase of interest by farmers, if I should say, regular farmers and non-regular farmers or home gardeners in sweet potato production. And this increase took place as a result of COVID-19 with all the lockdown and so on. People have taken it into their own hands to try to increase their local food production. And this is the first year in many, many years we have seen such a great demand upon us for sweet potato planting material.
The initiative was launched virtually 2 weeks ago, and what follows next is the setting up of systems to get the project off the ground. Andel said the plan is to have 2 solar dryers housed with 2 root crop farming groups on the island. The pilot project, which comes at a cost of US $69,000, is expected to come to an end in December. That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, September 9th. Let's recap the top story. Ministry of Education delivers on its EBook promise to students in secondary schools across the island. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.